This offseason, the New York Rangers are going to be looking at many different possibilities and ways they can make this team better than what it was last season. And one move that they definitely need to make is trying to find a top six caliber right winger to go alongside potentially Kreider and Zibanejad if they end up sticking together. But either way, this team needs a top line, top six caliber right winger. And one move, one trade they could possibly make to really kind of fill that spot is trading for former New York Ranger who was traded back in the offseason of 2021, and that is current St. Louis Blue Pavel Buchnevich, who was a fan favorite and still is loved by a lot of Rangers fans up to this day. He's definitely a very talented player, took a massive step up in his overall game once he was traded to the Blues, who very well could still try and look to extend Pavel at some point this offseason, but if they can't come to an agreement with him only having 1 year left under contract with the Blues with a modified no-trade clause up to 12-team no-trade list, maybe they look to move him because he is a very talented player, like I said, and losing him for nothing would definitely suck for the Blues, who are kind of in a retool, not really rebuilding, but kind of a retool mode right now with the team. They're not, quite good enough to really compete for a cup, but they're also not one of the worst teams in the NHL, getting a top tier draft pick, for example. So maybe they look to trade him away, possibly get some very good value back in return for what he originally got traded for back in 2021. We're going to take a look at Pavel Buchnevich, what he can bring to this New York Rangers team if they end up trading for him, and kind of what a deal could possibly look like if he were to get traded back to the Rangers as well. So now let's take a look, though, at what Pavel Buchnevich was originally traded for back in 2021. It ended up being Sammy Blais and a second-round pick in 2022, which ended up getting moved over to the Winnipeg Jets in the Andrew Kopp deal at the trade deadline that year. So decent trade there for Andrew Kopp. Definitely was a nice piece there to add alongside a pretty good team that helped the Rangers get all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals against Tampa there, which that was nice there. So second round pick was, pretty useful there, obviously, but Sammy Blais did not end up doing a whole lot for the Rangers. So definitely overall was not a great trade for this team, as Sammy Blais and Andrew Kopp are both no longer with this team, and the Blues definitely won this trade by a decent amount. Now let's take a look, though, at what Pavel Buchnevich would bring to the New York Rangers if he were traded for. Right away, though, he's going to have some pretty good chemistry with guys like Kreider and Zibanejad, who he played most of his last season back in 2020, 2021. When he was with the Rangers there, his last season with the team, he ended up playing quite a bit with them, ended up having a pretty good season overall when they were all on line together, ended up having 14 goals for, 8 goals against in 38 total games played, with a 2.66 goals for per 60 and a 1.52 goals against per 60. So offensively, they were solid together, not elite, but definitely not too bad at all. But defensively, they were very good as they whole line together, Kreider, Zibanejad, and Buchnevich. And his second last season with the team back in 2019-2020, he ended up playing 35 games on a line with Kreider and Zibanejad as well, and they ended up having 17 goals for and only 10 goals against for a goals for per 60 minutes of 3.57, which is absolutely amazing, as well as a 2.1 against. So a little worse defensively, but quite a bit better offensively. So I do think that they definitely have a lot of chemistry together. They showed that in the past. I do think that if they were put together once again after Buchnevich has definitely taken an overall step up in his game, I think this line definitely could be quite good, especially with Kreider and Zibanejad having their struggles at moments, 5-on-5 scoring-wise. Buchnevich could be a great add to go back with that line there, regain that chemistry, and potentially be a very dominant top six line for this New York Rangers team. And Pavel is also a pretty solid defensive winger. He's not some Selke award-winning kind of guy, which is the top defensive forward award, but he is a pretty solid defensive winger there. Can help out on the penalty kill as well, which is definitely a positive. Have more penalty killers and solid defensive forwards is definitely not a bad thing to add at all. And just an all-around very solid kind of two-way forward. Good offensively, good defensively. I think has some very good playmaking skills, but also is a pretty good goal scorer. As the last 3 seasons in a row there, he does have at least 26 goals or more. So he's got some pretty good scoring touch there. 26 goals or more in the last 2 seasons is not too bad at all. He's got one career 30-goal season. We'll take a look at those stats in a second. But the last thing here before we take a look at those is his overall size there. 6'1", 196 pounds. He's not overly physical, but definitely is not a complete soft player out there. The toughest guy in the world, but like I said, not too soft. That's kind of the one negative with him, is the fact that he's not, some very physical, tough player where he's going to be hitting a ton like that, which is definitely a need for this team. He's a very good kind of two-way forward, but definitely does not have that physicality that we are still looking for on this team. Now taking a look, though, at the regular season stats, this past season ended up having 80 games played, 27 goals, 36 assists for 63 total points. Not too bad there at all. Had 17 even strength goals and 25 even strength assists, so 42 points at even strength is not too bad at all. Also had 2 shorthanded goals and 1 shorthanded assist, so 3 points while he was penalty killing is definitely not too bad. Also 5 game-winning goals, which is a career high. And the previous year, back in 2022, 2023, ended up having 63 games played, 67 points. The year before that had 73 games played, 76 points. So 2 of his last 3 seasons, he has had over a point per game, which is not too bad at all. And now taking a look here at what he's done over his entire NHL career so far in the playoffs, where he has not had a ton of experience. He's only made the playoffs a total of 3 times, twice with the Rangers. Once was back in 2016-17, the other time was 2019-20, and the last time, the most recent one, was back in 2021-2022 with the St. Louis Blues, where he ended up having a phenomenal run there. 12 games played, 1 goal, 10 assists for 11 total points, also by 23 hits. I would say played quite well. So he has shown that he definitely can show up in the playoffs and perform at a very good level. We haven't seen that for more than one playoff run, obviously, as he has a pretty limited experience there. Total of 20 games played, and 12 of them came in that one playoff run there. So hopefully we can see a trade happen for Pavel Buchnevich at some point throughout this offseason. And now taking a look here at what a possible trade for Pavel Buchnevich could look like this offseason if it does happen. For the Rangers, I think they're definitely giving up a first-round pick. That's pretty much what's going to kind of be the starter for this deal. And then you're looking at possibly a guy like Kaapo Kakko, or maybe it is a good prospect like an Adam Sikora or Bryce McConnell-Barker, plus another asset or 2 potentially as well. There's kind of a rough framework for a deal. It could possibly look like a first-round pick and Kaapo Kakko plus something else, or maybe it is a first-round pick plus a good prospect, like I say, like Adam Sikora or Bryce McConnell-Barker potentially, plus another asset. Like, it's going to cost a decent amount. It might be more than what some people want to give up, but you got to remember he's probably going to get 50% retained as well, so it's going to add on to more value the Rangers are going to have to give up. You're looking at, like I said, potentially a guy like Kakko in a first, or maybe just a good prospect like a Bryce McConnell-Barker or an Adam Sikora plus a first. And then you're also looking at another, maybe it's a mid-round pick conditional-wise or another decent prospect. Like, it's going to cost a decent amount there, maybe even more than that possibly. I'm not 100% sure, but it's going to cost a lot. I do think he'd be a great fit on this team, though. He might be too much for the Rangers to give up there. It depends on what Drury wants to do, obviously, and kind of what the Blues are looking for in return. Maybe it is a guy Kakko who can help them right now, or maybe it is a longer-term prospect who can help them more in the future down the road. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please smash the like button. It helps the channel a ton. I would really appreciate it. If you are a New York Rangers fan, don't forget to subscribe for daily New York Rangers content, even throughout the entire offseason, as well as don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on a possible trade between the New York Rangers and the St. Louis Blues, sending Pavel Buchnevich back over to the Rangers, where I would really like to see him play next season. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next one. Bye.